Now the trial comes. They get these Middle Eastern people, right? Put them on trial. And during the trial, the evidence comes out that the Middle Easterners got the bomb from an FBI agent.
Mm-hmm. We had all that footage here.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah.
We told you about this. Go back and check the New York Times. They had an article in the New York Times. They got the bomb from an FBI agent. Mm-hmm. Now, how that all came about, you need to go read the article. We don't have time today. But that was 93, okay? Then we go to Mount Carmel Church of the Branch Davidians in 1993.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? 93 or was 93. It 94? 93.
93.
Yeah, 93. They put on a 7-day siege. Supposedly, little children and little babies are being abused. And they do a 70-day demonization. They call the church a compound. They surround it. They say they've got massive stores of bullets and all kinds of weapons that are illegal and all this sort of stuff. So we've got to protect the media. We've got to keep them 2 or 3 miles back. So if it blows up, and we showed you the tape of that incident. And you can see on that tape, we're not going to run it today, but if you watch, you've seen it again, the American flame-throwing tank nozzle busting holes in, and you can see the flames dripping as they pull out.
Yeah, shocking.
We've seen that, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
Many times I've shown you that. At that same time, Janet Wacko Reno, the Attorney General under Slick Willie, was saying they set themselves on fire. They burned themselves to death. Susan, can you imagine any mother with her little babies, you know, staying in a building and setting themselves on fire?
Absolutely not. Yeah, when a big old tank's plowing a hole through the side and burning them, you know, that's what happened.
That's what really happened.
Right.
But Janet Reno was saying they set themselves on fire
No.
with kerosene lamps.
Absolutely not.
That didn't happen, did it, Susan?
Not to my knowledge, it didn't.
No, it didn't happen, folks, but that's what the government lie was. Now, right after that, there was a big push by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the CIA, the FBI, to pass an anti-terrorist bill. What did it do? It took away your right to privacy, your right to not have unreasonable search and seizures, your right to an attorney, and a whole lot of things. Congress didn't like it very well. They said, I don't think the people want to vote for this. You know, and the Congress didn't pass it the way they wanted it. They watered it down. Remember that?
They did, right. And
then the next
it was still passed.
It passed, but it was watered down. It didn't give the CIA, FBI, BATF everything they wanted. Now, we come forward a little bit. And it's April, I think, of 1995. In the Alfred P. Murrah building, there's a little daycare center. And they claim Timothy McVeigh blew it up. All right? They claim he blew it up. I say that's not true. He did not demolish the Alfred P. Murrah building with a truck bomb. But I'm nobody. I'm just William Wagner here on second thought. However, there are other people who know a lot about this, and we're going to take you, just to remind you now what really happened.
I've heard some of those speakers, and they're very convincing that
they are.
They have a good argument as to how that could not have happened.
And after that, there was TWA Flight 800 shot down with 2 SAM missiles. 700 witnesses. One of them, Major Myers from Vietnam service, knows what a SAM missile looks like. He told everybody. They ignored him. They said it was mechanical breakdown. So I'm going to take you now. We're going to have some news briefs a little later, but I'm going to take you now to that tape. I'm going to show you. It's only a minute, so watch carefully. Notice the voice you're listening to is a retired police inspector, detective, who didn't buy the federal FBI government crap line. Roll the tape.
You may have noticed that some of the photographs of the reconstruction show what appear to be several large missing areas. However, almost all of the fuselage structure in these areas is actually attached to the adjacent pieces, but has been folded back or crushed.
Something to remember here. The top NTSB brass were pushing a mechanical thesis before much of anything was recovered. It's time to ask a tough question. Is it possible that in an administration notorious for misplacing evidence, the physical evidence from Flight 800 was Misplaced as well? Consider this exchange from early in the investigation.
I wish Clinton would get off his ass and do something about this terrorism. I don't know if you could print that. Oh, no, it's definitely an explosion. I tell you, when you see it for yourself, I mean, the little pieces are all over the place.
We have senior FBI agents under oath in court stating that the NTSB was never allowed to see anything as it came off the floor, onto the ships, onto shore, into the hangar. It remained under FBI control. The FBI would go through it at will, take anything they wanted, no record, and that again, that's also under oath, no record of this stuff being taken wherever the FBI wanted to take it.
This leading edge.
Okay,
That was police detective
Right.
Jack Sanders, whose wife went to prison. He went to jail.
Right, well,
There-
they took that little piece of the plane and
The
sent
phone.
it in for testing and found that there was residue on there
It
from
popped
what?
positive.
A bomb.
It popped positive
Right.
for missile residue.
Missile residue, right.
Not just any bomb, but missile residue. Because in our military munitions, they have tracer elements that they can track right down to the very factory that manufactured it. And guess what? It popped. Yeah. And what were we talking about? We were talking about TWA Flight 800. And that was years ago. We're talking about the Clinton administration. I've been doing this show for a long time. My point is I've been concerned about how these disasters happen. With each succeeding disaster, they take away our rights, and yet another disaster happens. And they take away some more rights, and another disaster happens. People, I'm going to say something you're not going to like hearing, but I want you to think real hard about it. Adolf Hitler was a starving artist. He couldn't even pay his rent. It's a matter of record and research that he went to his half-niece one month and said, please, please, my young niece, please give me some Deutschmarks so I can pay my rent on my second floor flop house. And months later, he's got a whole new house. He's got brown shirts, black shirts, people. He's buying boots for them and shirts for them and uniforms. How does he go from a starving artist to suddenly having money? Think about that. How does a starving artist go, no, he didn't sell any paintings. That wasn't the right answer. Yeah, Adolf Hitler was a starving artist. He was a lousy artist and, it didn't sell. So how does he go from this? He had been going to these Nazi meetings and speaking. And one of the bank gangsters' agents, need I say Rothschild, or do I have to say Warburg, Cousins, or whatever? Doesn't matter. But one of the bank gangsters' agents saw him and said, hey, here's a guy, let's make him dictator. Why do the bankers like to rise up dictators? Raise them from a nobody up into a dictator. They look for these people are whacked in the head. They want them in control. It wasn't the German people. The German people are nice people. I was just there last year. I was there 41 years ago. They're nice people. And I always wondered, how did it get this way? How did they let some nut like Adolf Hitler take over? It's because they didn't have anything to say about it. The bankers destroyed their economy in the 20s till the money became worthless. Then, in the confusion of that, they raised up Adolf Hitler.